Scratch, I'm giving you the champion right now. This is the champion. Which one
Thank you.
you would want? Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another raid video. Today, I'm not by myself making the video. I got my buddy Scratch in a collab. We're gonna go over some big things, discuss some big things, but don't worry, we also have another video on his channel covering some sweet leaks about the new mythical champions and some other stuff that were data mined that Scratch had his hands in and found the info. Very, very cool stuff. So better check that out. Scratch, what are you doing, mate? How are you?
Doing great, bro. Doing great. You know, just enjoying life at the moment, taking care of the baby. You know, having fun, and yeah, on the grind, baby.
Yeah, it must feel amazing, but also scary to be a dad, right? I bet. I'm not a dad myself, but I bet it feels like that.
I do love it, but I'm just like, wow, it's growing so quick. You know, like by the time I'm gonna open my eyes again, I'm gonna be 50 years old or something. And I'm like, damn, you know, time's flying, man. It definitely feels like the time is going faster and faster now. Just seeing a little person growing, you know.
Yeah, it gets crazy, But let's get back to raid and the stuff, the bomb that raid has dropped on us, the creators. They sent us those cards. 5 new champions added to the game. Some big issues that community has started worrying about, and what we're gonna be covering in today's video is basically 2 things. We're gonna cover the 5 new mythical champions. We're gonna give our thoughts on it and how those will be affecting the whole of the game, because 5 champions out of 800 you might not think is much, but when you think these champions are so unique, that might be changing a lot of things in a lot of the meta, both on PvE and PvP. But the other thing that I wanted to start with was one of the biggest problems in raid right now is not mythical champions. I talked with Scratch just for like a minute before we started the recording, but the biggest problem in my eyes, which has been like this forever, is time. The time we spend within the game, when this is supposed to be a game you play on your mobile phone, just not where you're just sitting on the toilet, right? But when you're playing on your phone, this is supposed to be like a casual, friendly game. But this game has been growing and growing and growing and requiring more and more and more time. And the recent addition that they had to the clan boss, the quick battles, definitely helped a little bit with the time that it takes us when we spend, what time we spend in the game. But remember, that's not all players who benefit from that. It's only players who can 1 key, and then some other things added more time into the game, such as the Hydra clash, right? Scratch, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Like, is time really the biggest problem?
It is one of the problems, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like how you mentioned, this game started with no events. We had a few hundred champions. We had dungeons, no faction wars, dungeons, arena. That was it. But the game evolved a lot, which I'm not complaining about. It's lovely to have a lot of content in the game, keeps the people busy. But the main idea is, I love the idea of bringing that for the clan boss, the insta battle. It's not available for everyone, right? That's an issue. And then they added extra things on top. So they added a Hydra clash, which it might not seem a problem for the majority of people, because a lot of you guys don't care about it, don't do it. But for the rest of people that care about it, this added 3 to 4 hours to your weekly routine, right? Easy, because you do need to do the keys on manual. If you want to maximize the damage and care about your clan to win the rewards, of course. How I mentioned, not everybody does it, which is fine. I would like to see more insta battles for the Doom Tower. I would like to see them for faction wars. Now, they're not going to do it in dungeons, because their main thing of how they're running the game is improve your team, get the best time. That's how they're making money, by bringing champions that make things faster. So it's fine, keep that for the dungeons, but put kind of like some sort of a limit. Once you're gonna reach 2 minutes per run in a Doom Tower wave, or something like that, make it afterwards insta battle, or beat the Doom Tower 100 times, or beat the Doom Towers 50 times, 10 times, then allow us to do insta battles. That will save us quite a bit of time per week rather than per day, you know. Then faction wars as well is not the hardest thing to beat. It takes you 1-2 minutes to do a run, but then again, that 1-2 minute can be pushed towards a different dungeon run and focusing on doing your 5 arena fights daily, if you're not doing more and stuff, and kind of like reducing a bit all the time that's badly managed with all the content that we have, you know. Plus, if we have the new thing coming with
Yeah,
these
that's
mythical
where
heroes,
I was gonna
my God.
was gonna come into saying this new content that might be coming in is not just gonna be champions, right? They might introduce something else, which is PvE content. That's what Cyrilla mentioned in the video she made with you. She was mentioning something coming in close to the end of the year. So we are only a couple of months away from finishing 2023. So this is the time that they launched these things. Last year, September was Iron Twins, I believe. All right. So this year,
I think so, yeah.
So I think this year will be this one. It says the Great Void. This will be the content that they'll be adding. Hydra was also 2 years ago, December. So
yeah, Hydra was a bit late. I think they got that delayed.
A bit late also. So it's another big part of the game, and if this includes a lot of rewards for players and also some way to get the mythical champions, then players will want to be spending most of the time here, and they'll be trying to make the best teams possible with whatever they have. Maybe there's different difficulties. We obviously have no idea. We're just speculating right now, thinking and being hopeful, really being a dreamer, as you said in your video. It's like this new content, it might take you like 10 hours a week or whatever to think of the teams, build them and try them out. Maybe it's manual runs, we don't know yet. That is a lot of time, and that's where Raid needs to push the other content they have. They need to push it aside and say, okay, we know you enjoyed it so far. If you done your faction wars, you got all your stars, as an example, you got your Lydia, will give you auto fights. If you've done Doom Tower, you've cleared it. I don't know, if you cleared all the rotations successfully, you beat all the bosses and all the secret rooms at least once, you unlock auto fights for them, so instant fights on them. So that would be something amazing that would be added to the game and reduce our time taken, especially when we are farming for gear in the Doom Tower. Some of the best gear is in the Doom Tower, and it would save a lot of time. Even with super raids, it's still not enough. It's still, you know, you spend the time in there. So yeah, reducing the time taken will be the next step forward. And the mythical champions, although everybody would want to have them, it will be so random that we'll get them, and it will bring, you know, so much meta changing that we can't even imagine right now, because only 5 were introduced, and with just those 5 and the little bit of info that they gave us, Plarium just, you know, as I said, they dropped a bomb on us. So let's get into the second part of the video, man. Let's have a look at
I'm curious
all the champions.
I've only checked my champion. I haven't checked any other champion yet. So I'm very curious to see the other 4 champions, how powerful they are, you know?
Yeah, I checked them a little bit, but I didn't really, you know, focus too much about their skills. I went over them, didn't look at the cooldowns, and I thought, okay, whatever. So I think we should get started very quickly with mine. So you give your opinion, because I gave my opinion about Arbais, the Stonethorn. I think she's very solid. One skill especially very strong. I'll let you think which one that is. And let's get started. Sylvan Watcher, she has this form. By the way, it's not very clear when the champions enter the battle, which form are they going to have? Is this the first one or the... Which one?
Yeah, I think this one. I think this one is the regular form, and then like she gets evolved. Yeah, because you see, it's a simple form, right? The one that looks a bit more standard.
Right.
This one looks amazing. Reminds me of the Mummy, the one with Tom Cruise from the movie. Looks very sick, very similar, right? The same sort of vibe. And then you transform into something bigger, stronger, evil. I love the design. Like, they're doing such an amazing job when they're doing this, you know? Leaving everything else on the side. This looks sick, right? Like, looks amazing. The portal, everything. I'm a massive fan of it. And
imagine if they add skins on these mythical champions. So you change on all of that when you click the metamorphosis skill. It changes again to the whole different skin. Probably something that they might add. But anyway, that's not what we want to talk about. Let's see. Blade Gale. So this is an AoE attack. Block active skills with 40% chance. So
decent.
Looks very decent. Very useful in many situations. But debuffs have their problem for PvP.
Polymorph, stone skin.
Yeah. You have.
But it's good for PvE though.
PvE will be fantastic. Then we have Verdant Rebirth, removes all buffs from all enemies, increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, then places a revive on death for 2 turns. Looks very strong, both for PvP and PvE. The revive on death is also fantastic because she has a synergy later on with revive on death. Then she has this boost, which I think it's amazing. Turn meter fill by 30%, increase attack, increase accuracy at the same time. So it's gonna be a huge boost, right? A huge boost.
Think about Lady Kimi and Arbiter together. Massive, huge.
Yeah, that's right. It's both of their kits together. And then this is the metamorphosis skill, which we can cover in a second. It's the same thing for all these mythical champions. Basically, they turn into the other form, and they get that turn, so they do something during that other form. And then this is the passive where she benefits from the revive and death. 30% chance to place petrification debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under revive on death.
Oh wow! So it's kind of like a Mitrala sort of skill. That's actually very solid. Yeah. This petrification is powerful, man. Like
it's very strong because it controls the champion basically. And then an aura for battles, which is alright.
All battles.
Yeah, all battles. 25%. I think it's pretty strong. I think
it's definitely a top 10 auras in the game. So it's very good.
Yeah, I think the strongest one is close to 30%.
For arena only. For all battles, you're not gonna find.
I think. Oh yeah. I think it's dungeons that I was thinking of. That there's a 30% one. Yeah. But this is just one of the kit that she has. Then
looks very solid.
We go into the metamorphosis. Yeah, she's very strong. I wouldn't mind at all having this champion. Then we go on to the big form, the Boulder Hurl, and it's a single target, decreases turn meter, continuous heal buff, plus continuous heal buff on an ally. This is very similar to other skills the champion has, plus the turn meter control there. So it's very similar, I think, to many champions who give the continuous heal buff. I can think of many right now. And then we have the A2, which is an AoE, leech, and HP burn. Not so special, not unique at all, I would say. At this point, this is no surprise. This is going to be great for, let's say, Hydra.
Yeah, PvE mainly that one. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. But then this one, Roar of the Beastwood, is continuous heal buffs on allies, 2 of them, taunt for 2 turns, and then a stone skin for 1 turn. Nasty. So this is the very unique thing that she had with this form. It's the taunt, you're forcing the single targets on you, and the stone skin, that is basically something you'll enable always. You'll have this available always, and this will be very strong in some situations, maybe in PvP, where you can use this to force the single targets to go on you. I think it's the only champion that has a stone skin buff currently available.
Yeah, I mean, we have Eililk that can steal it, basically.
Yeah, or that can steal or gain
it. Gain it, sorry. And yeah, I think that's about it, man. Like, yeah, dangerous, yeah.
And then when attacked, decrease speed debuff on the attacker for 2 turns, occurs once per hit. Pretty okay. Also decreases damage taken.
Very strong for the Iron Twins, this one, actually, because its damage reduction too is massive.
Yeah. Reduces the damage taken by allies by 20%. This champion will receive the damage instead. So very tanky champion. Overall, the kit, it's not like a skill that completely breaks the game, but these are very strong skills put together, like multiple champions put together. That's how it feels like. And this champion has all of this in combination with the ability to turn to the different form, and we covered this in your video, but this different form, you cannot have the cooldown increase, so the Yumekos and the Bashers and the Warlords cannot increase the cooldowns anymore for that specific skill. So you rotate to the other form and you're free to do whatever you want, right? So plus all the other things that these champions will have, like higher base stats, so higher speed, higher accuracy, higher resist,
higher everything, guys.
Yeah. And then the ignore resistance bonus also that will make these skills even more powerful for many situations. So
that's the main thing there, like they're kind of like pointing towards something. Like, why would they add that? Like, resistance is not strong in the game at the moment, right? Like, just think about it. It's not strong in PvE. It's not strong in PvP. I mean, not strong in the way where you encounter bosses that you cannot deal with. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's strong to build your champions with resistance. I'm not saying that, but it's not like something that's heavily needed for people to fight against champions that have 2000 resistance or stuff like that. So this really points towards something that's coming to the game, and all those Supreme Kale fans out there, they might finally be happy that they pulled him, because I'm still not a fan of the champion, you know. Still, I don't see that content.
I don't know if you remember, but Supreme Kill was like a guarantee, right? 90.
Yeah.
Voids.
I didn't went for him, no. But I'm sure I'm gonna pull him, no. It's the next one.
I didn't go for him on purpose because I didn't want him. And then I think after that there was like a 10x for a champion that I want. I think it was a Necred maybe or something else. And I pulled him there like a few days after the guaranteed. I was like, oh my god. And he's sitting at level 50 in my vault, but maybe a new content is gonna make me max him out and drop him into some PvE content. But let's go on to the next one. Do you wanna do the orc that you covered in your video?
Yeah.
You wanna tell me a little bit about what you think about this champion, like a summary maybe? What did you think is the strongest skill?
So the strongest skill so far, what I've seen, is gonna be a nuke skill, right? So I'm quickly gonna just try to bring it back on my screen so I have it easier to navigate on the skills and stuff. But basically, we have two champions in the game that are really powerful, like Seer, for example.
Right.
And then we have Taras, right? So they get buffed and they deal damage. The more buffs, the more damage they deal. Now, this champion, it does have a pretty supportive skill all around. It's an HP-based attack champion. And what really makes this champion stand out, in my opinion, except the fact that he looks sick, right? So if you go back to the initial form, you're going to see that this champion will actually, let me just click on it. So go back to the initial form in here. Make sure we're on the same one, on the same screen. We are. So you see, attacks all enemies with the A2, places a provoke, then places an unkillable buff on the champion for 3 turns, which is great.
Yeah,
with the A1, attacks an enemy, has a chance to increase the cooldown of a random skill on the target, which again is interesting. Also removes any shield buffs, which is good. The A3 on this form removes block buffs, debuffs from all allies, which is not a very common thing anymore. Then places ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and places a shield buff on all allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. Now, this is going to be a very strong supportive skill, which is going to be great. Shield, ally protection, and remove block buffs in case if anyone is trying to bring that back into the meta. Then you have the passives. When attack decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn, which can be very great for clan boss, for example. Very good for clan boss, sorry. If he buffs increased attack, it's going to get decreased. Or for arena, it's going to be super powerful. Think about champions like Jack, right? Like Jack has this passive where he decreases the cooldowns of the skills, and he was so powerful before, and it doesn't really bring anything else that's very important now for the current meta. But a champion like this could actually swap things around, you know? So I think this is a interesting passive. And heals all allies except this champion by 50% of the damage taken whenever this champion is hit. So think about a Vogot on steroids again, you know, because you're gonna get a strong heal on your team. Then you have HP aura for all battles. But when you're moving over to the next metamorph, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of like changes a bit more into the damage dealer. With the A1, attacks all enemies. Has a chance of repeating the skill. So 20%. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be play out like Fusion, where that 20% chance can repeat over and over and over and over again, up to 10, 20 times based on your RNG, you know? Of course, it's not very likely, but it can happen. So that can be strong as a nuker. Just imagine the A1 AoE repeating 3 times. You're just going to wipe the team off, you know? So it's going to be very powerful. But then this A2, Calamitous Maul, attacks all enemies. Damage of this skill increases by 10% for each buff on this champion. Of course, the multipliers will be playing a very important role. But then ignores 30% of the target's defense. So you already have integrated a Savage and a Cruel set on this champion. add one more Savage and Cruel set because the damage is based on HP and attack, similar with Rotos and Mountain King. And my god, you know, is nuts. Very powerful in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's also the added like ally attack ability that,
yeah, I was gonna go to that in a second,
yeah.
which is even crazy, and is an AoE on the A1, and I'm convinced that this might have a chance to proc that extra hit from the A1, or it might not usually actually, but you never know.
Yeah, this champion looks nuts in terms of being like a big damage dealer. And the another interesting thing is that we don't know the books how they will affect this champion's skills. Probably gonna be a lot of damage added, but maybe cooldown also.
I doubt it, because he's on a 3-turn cooldown.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Maybe it's too much to have this on a 2-turn cooldown.
Oh,
so, yeah, it would be too much. But it's very interesting on how all of these champions have so many things put into them. Like these mythical champions that is what we mentioned earlier. It's like multiple champions glued together. And they make a mythical champion. And the other thing is that they will be able to ignore some resistance in their skills already. Maybe it's with the books, so when you do the booking, it's when you get that extra ignore resistance. So it's not added. So it's not from the start.
You need to book it. That's what I understood. You need to book them in order to gain that additional thing.
Yeah. So it might be like something completely new that we never had before. Because usually we have -1 cooldown, plus damage or plus healing, and then
I would expect
extra chance to do the effect. So it will be very interesting to see on how this moves forward.
I think was a resistance and for accuracy something, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not 100% sure what's going to be the deal with the accuracy because it's not very clear, you know.
Yeah, let's have a look next at the dwarf. This one I think it was Nubs who got this card for the dwarf. So he's got Seismic Quake, attacks one enemy, ignores 5% of the target's defense for each buff of this champion. That's actually pretty big. So maybe up to 50% if you have full buffs, but
it
can
be.
Unlikely, but it's very easy to have like 4 buffs, 3 or 4 buffs on him. So pretty cool. Bloody Larceny, attacks one enemy, steals 2 buffs. This effect cannot be resisted. That is strong. If this attack is critical, repeats the attack once, so you can steal up to 4 buffs maybe, from what I understand.
I get polymorphed in the meantime, you know, in the process. That's good. Yeah, I like this.
Make this dwarf a sheep. Exterminate the weak, attacks all enemies, damage increases by 30% if this champion's max HP is higher than the target's max HP. This is very strong, but
it's an HP based champion as well, this one. Okay,
interesting. Probably an HP based. But this will be weak in PvE content, right? Because
they have so much HP, like the waves, they have 500k. You're not gonna have that.
Yeah, so he looks more focused on PvP, at least on this version. And then a passive, this passive is very interesting. There's crit damage increased by 1% for every 1,000 health, increases champion's max HP by 20% up to 100%. Wow. And speed by 20 up to 100, like Razelvarg. Whenever this champion kills an enemy. Okay, so he needs to get like 5 kills for this to actually matter, to get the full boost. But it's very strong. The first part is very strong. The crit damage boost he gets, so very easy to build.
Yeah, that's crazy,
very
bro.
easy to build 100k HP.
Yeah, and you're getting 100% crit damage. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
If he has good multipliers, if the multipliers suck, it doesn't matter, you know. But I don't think they're gonna make crappy new mythical champions. They're gonna make 5-10 new champions that everybody wants to get. Okay, that's gonna be the main thing, the main sell point. So I'm convinced that they're gonna be solid champions, all of them.
Yeah, but for PvE content, so dungeons and stuff, or maybe whatever other content we have, this doesn't look that strong because it resets each round, and usually the boss fight at the end, you don't have stuff to kill. And I think these kill mechanics don't work on Hydra heads. I'm not sure.
I think this is more live arena because they revive, you kill again, they revive, you kill again, and you're stacking up your stuff, you know. So I think it's gonna be strong for live arena,
Yeah, for longer fights, it looks like. And then we go to the stronger version. Let's see.
Oh, nice.
Doesn't look like a dwarf anymore. It looks like
no. It's too tall, you know. Like it looks massive. Like what happened? It's like in Power Rangers, you know.
Yeah, became the ultimate form, the big robot. A1 is double hitting attack. Each hit increases this champion's defense
Oh
by
wow, so
5%.
he changes forms from HP to defense. Or maybe not.
Do you think
That's
it would be
interesting.
possible they make all of these skills have a defense multiplier? So the strong version has a defense multiplier maybe, and the other version. Let's see.
It looks interesting. Let's see.
It looks very weird. Attacks one enemy, heals this champion by 50%, balances the HP. Okay, the balancing is strong, but
I think this will be the support side. So basically, the other one is the damage one based on the HP, and then you become more supportive and increase your defense. So you become tankier and tank for the team. I think, yeah.
Ally protection, 2 turns, and then unkillable for 2 turns. Then places a shield buff on all allies with less than 50% health. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. So yeah, he becomes more defensive based. Ally protection so much. And then passive, when attack reflects 80% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker. Debuffs placed on this champion decreases their producer's accuracy by 10%. Guessing the enemy gets an accuracy reduction.
This passive is pretty crazy though. Like imagine having reflect damage on your team, which was never good for arena, especially with shield, right? Like I always had that fantasy of putting in the red champion, Bogwalker, putting him in arena, have Tranda hit me with the first hit, proccing that reflect damage, and then kill herself, you know? And then have a Tormin when they revive, because this was the old meta that I had in mind, so it was not something recent, but was never working because you had shield on your team or something was going wrong. But this one right here is going to make that possible. This is going to be a very, very strong passive, actually.
Yeah, this is very strong.
Imagine Taras nuking or somebody for 400k and reflecting 80% damage on that champion. It's going to instantly kill him, you know? Yeah, and have a Lydia for block revive or some crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, it's going to be dead. And yeah, reducing accuracy. It's not very clear. Debuffs placed on this champion decrease. It's not very clear when the accuracy reduction that happens stays there.
Yeah, it's not clear and it stacks, so that's a bit confusing. Yeah,
stacks up to 50%, so maybe 5 debuffs.
I guess,
but
yeah, I guess the more times it hits him, it does it. But I don't think it's gonna be a debuff. I think it's just
happens.
Just happens, yeah.
Just happens during the fight.
Like the decreased attack from Taras, for example.
Yeah. What do you think of this champion? I like the first 4 more, honestly, than the second one.
I actually like the passive on this one, so it's interesting.
The passive, yeah, the passive looks strong. The reflect looks very interesting. They won't be able to touch you, but this dwarf looks so strong. That passive
it's crazy,
by itself. He can even steal buffs and then do lots of damage with ignore defense on the A1 AOE attack. I think it looks like a pretty solid dwarf. Let's go to the next one. This is the Skinwalker. Mezomel, Luperfang. Let's have a look.
Ooh, I've already seen something nice there.
Yeah? I didn't. Yeah. A1, decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Okay, pretty standard. 100% chance to apply it, right?
Polymorph. Oh, this is so nasty. Look at that.
Yeah, ignore stone skin, strengthen ally protection, shield buffs, single target. Also plays block revive. Wow. That is the huge thing. This looks like you punish the person that tries to protect to be protected by that necret.
Even with so the strong, man. Like
very strong.
Just kill the nuker and game over. But again, think about. Again, brings me back to multipliers. He doesn't. She doesn't ignore defense. Okay, so that if the multiplier is not a 6.0 with a 1.6k attack upwards, this is not going to be a very effective skill, especially if you hit on a reaction or anything like that. But all around, this is a very needed skill in the game. I'm gonna admit it. It's a very powerful skill, but it's really needed in the game because there's no champion to do it. Block revive is to be more common.
You needed to punish those attackers in arena.
Yeah,
and
especially live arena. Yeah,
that looks like how this champion will be used for. And then look at this. Wow. Oh. All the buffs that give you damage, attack, crit rate, crit damage for 3 turns. Grant you an extra turn, basically. So if you didn't have a buffer in your team, she's the buffer for herself.
You don't need a buffer.
She's the buffer for herself. Big boost to crit rate. Also, that is usually huge for us. To build crazy amounts of damage on a champion.
is the first skill in the game that gives you crit rate, crit damage, and attack. None of them do that. Either it gives you attack and crit rate, either it gives you attack and crit damage, either it gives you crit rate and crit damage, but no attack. So this is so powerful. Open with this, move to the A2, annihilate the nuker, and clear up the rest. And is really, really nice, yeah.
And heals champion by 20% of damage, places a revive on death for 2 turns every time they kill an enemy. Very strong. Crit rate by 27% in all battles. That is
sick.
Huge. Huge.
Sick.
27%, that is big. And then let's see the bigger wolf.
We don't know the affinities for all these champions, right? Because we had the cards on ours. I know mine was spirit. What was yours?
Force.
Force, okay. So I'm curious if we have a void one in here.
I don't think we'll have a void.
Right? I hope not. That's
void,
what I'm saying.
void primal shards coming in 2024.
I hope not.
Right. AoE attack now. The A1 will not trigger counterattacks. That is big. Place an extra hit.
Arbais and Marichka, for example.
Place an extra hit on enemies under True Fear debuffs. Okay. It depends if you can apply it or not.
It might not be actually. Sorry, against Arbais, because it's not a counterattack. It just uses the A2 basically. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna ignore that completely.
Maybe. Attacks all enemies, places a True Fear. There's the True Fear. This attack will not trigger counterattacks, will also ignore unkillable and block damage.
It's good. It's good. The bomb team. So instead of Suzerain Khatoon, you're gonna use this to deal with Marichka and the bombs. It's gonna be very strong actually, yeah, because it's unkillable and block damage and puts the True Fear.
Yeah, the interesting thing with nukers when they require accuracy is like you're missing on some stats, but I guess because this one will be a mythical, you'll have the ignore resistance in there in the skill. It's gonna be very powerful, and you shouldn't have much issues maybe with accuracy. Let's see. On the passive, increase this champion's attack and crit damage by 20% while in their alternate form. I'm guessing this one in this form, right? Okay. Attack by 20% is huge. I'm guessing base attack is what they mean, or is it overall attack? Because if it's overall, that is huge. If it's base,
I think it's overall. That's how they usually work. Like same with Ninja and the others, you know. So
yeah. I would say this is a strong
actually
form.
it's not that strong. Not as strong.
It's not as strong as the others. No, it doesn't.
I'm just saying it doesn't remove the unkillable or block damage. It just ignores it, so it's not gonna be that great against the bombs. With the bomb, sorry, not against it. Like I was cutting you out there, broski. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the first form for this champion more than the second
solid,
one. It feels very like the second one is like a normal legendary.
Yeah, like
but yeah, the other champions, both of their forms had a lot of stuff in there. This form doesn't have so much. Doesn't feel, so unique.
What I'm curious of, like, can you decide before the beginning of the fight on what form you start the fight? Because like this, you would go with this one. You would let the enemy lock you basically and transform to the other one and smack the crap out of him.
Yeah.
You metamorph, gain extra turn, buff, gain extra turn, nuke, game over. It's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be pretty crazy actually. Yeah. This is sick actually, very solid. Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
My wallet is crying.
My wallet is crying. I don't know if it's like the prism shards.
I hope not, because I'm not a fan of that. I haven't engaged into it to spend. I'm curious about this champion. It's kind of like a updated Septimus sort of vibe. I don't know.
Is it this one? How Hades had it. I think this one was Spirit. I can't remember though. Maybe Magic. Anyway, doesn't matter until we actually see them. So let's see. A1. Attacks 2 times. First hit transfers debuffs. Second, increases duration of debuffs. That's right. Pretty strong.
Or PV, yeah.
PV mostly, yeah. A2 is an AoE. Each critical hit feels turn meter by 25%. That's huge. Resets the cooldown of Rage of the Nephilim. This attack kills an enemy. Resets the cooldown of all of this champion skills if this attack kills 2 or more enemies. Yeah,
strong for PV, actually. PV, yeah. If you can reset constantly like Septimus does with the A1, it's nice,
And then Rage of the Nephilim attacks one enemy, will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the initial target is killed. That is very cool. Like what we have with the monkey recently.
Yeah, but this can be critical. It's not.
Oh yeah, they don't specify.
So this is gonna be nasty. This is gonna be like Baron on the A1.
Oh my god, this will be even stronger because it's not an A1.
I was gonna say literally exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
The multiplier will be huge on this one. And then let's have a look at the passive. If this champion is about to get killed by a fatal hit, blocks damage and applies a block damage buff, then heals by 50% of their max HP and heals their turn meter by 100%. Oof.
3-turn cooldown.
3-turn cooldown. So basically 2 turns because you get a turn immediately.
Yeah.
So he is almost like a Rotos, but way stronger with that passive. Because Rotos you kind of one shot.
Yeah.
You can 2-shot a Rotos. This guy you cannot 1-shot. He'll block it unless there's a block buff on, unless you can apply a block buff on him. But he does say blocks incoming damage, so he's gonna be able to block the hit that kills him. But if you apply a block buff, he won't apply the block damage buff, I guess.
Correct.
I guess that's how it's gonna happen.
Think about champions like
that dwarf. I think that there's that dwarf that does this. Very similar.
Is the epic from the Lizardman, Scatix. Now the thing for Scatix is if the damage that you're dealing is basically more than his HP, he will die. The passive doesn't come in play. But if it's less, he will survive. Now I'm sure it's not going to be the case for this one based on their wording, but it's going to be the same sort of thing. Yeah, it's strong. Looks very strong actually.
And then a very strong all battles boost by 35% for attack. That is
very strong.
Strong everywhere. So let's see how stronger this version is and how he looks. Woo!
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
It's a demon spawn. Okay.
Fantastic. Look at how beautiful this is.
Yeah, very solid. They kill it with the design, bro. Like
always. All right. A1 becomes an AoE, and heals all allies by 20% of the damage inflicted. All allies. That is huge. Huge heal.
100k nuke. If he deals that much damage, it's gonna be very nice support.
Very big heal. Yeah, removes all debuffs, then heals by 30% of their max HP and places a block debuffs on them for 2 turns. 4-turn cooldown. Probably this drops to 3 turns with books.
So strong for Hydra.
Yeah, very strong. Revives all dead allies by 50% and 50% turn meter, then places block damage buff on all allies except this champion. Wow.
So sick.
So sick and so strong. This is 6 turns, but this will definitely be lower.
I think it's gonna go down to a 4-turn cooldown, judging
4 turn looks like
by the other revivers as well. Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah.
It's like something like a revive from a Duchess plus who applies block damage with the revive. I think Uko I think applies block damage. Yeah.
Ugo, yeah.
Right, Metamorph, and then the passive decreases damage taken from skills by 20%. Simple and strong. Yeah, simple and strong. So yeah, this guy is more support, way more support on this version, and then the other version is more, heavy damage, the surplus damage. Will be very weird on how you build these champions. That they have so different.
They haven't mentioned if this is a defense or HP based, but I think this might be a defense based champion or a HP based champion, something like that. I don't think he's an attack based champion.
Yeah,
actually it is because the aura is attack, bro. So it must be attack. It must be attack, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it very weird though if it's an attack base and then he has such a heavy defensive.
Well, no, think about it like this. So you're in the first form, right? You get nuked, all your team is dying, his passive comes in play, gets the block damage, gets the 100% turn meter, then you can use Metamorph, move to the other skill, revive everybody with block damage. You get it?
Yeah. You revive everybody with block damage, even, your supports, the supports help him.
Yeah, and exactly.
So sick.
So crazy.
So sick. Yeah, wow, such a long video. I'm sorry, man, this took a little bit longer than I thought, but these champions are nuts. So it was definitely deserved. Out of the 5, which one, Scratch, I'm giving you the champion right now. This is the champion. Which one you would want?
That's a good question. I'm definitely in between 3 of them. Okay, so I'm in between the orc.
Okay.
I'm in between the. I forgot this one too, but I'll leave this one on the side. I'm in between the orc. I'm in between the last one that we saw, the demon spawn, and in between the skinwalker. Now I don't know the multipliers yet. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen, but just with confidence, I'm gonna have to go for the skinwalker. Just knowing everything that I've seen so far, just because it's that skill that I really wanted to have in the game for a long time.
That block revive nuke on the A2, that was what basically sold the champion for you.
Yeah.
But what if it's
an
affinity,
increased attack and the rest? Huh?
What if it's like an affinity though? Wouldn't that be a problem in PvP?
Yeah, it will be. If
it's like void champion.
If his force is gonna be a problem. If it's anything else, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh
my god, this will be huge. All right. Thanks, man. We'll do more, guys. We'll do more collabs as time comes closer. Maybe we get some more info by September 5th. And if you guys don't know what September 5th is, go check our video with Scratch. We cover that for a little while for his video.
That's when everything happens.
Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already to both of our channels. And we'll see you in the next one. See ya.
Peace.